Welcome to a BBC News special as we continue to reflect on the sad news that 78-year-old Anne Wickham couple has died. It's confirmed that there is a murder investigation ongoing after she was announced that she was a Labour, she was an MP, she was part of the Conservative Party and part of the Liberal Democrat Party. She died at the age of 78, and she also appeared on Strictly Come Dancing. So again, we will recap, we'll hear from the comparison and hear from the police statement in just a couple of minutes' time. This is a BBC News special reflecting on the life of Anne Woodall.
Police have said that they've arrested a 26-year-old white man in connection with the murder of the former government minister Anne Widdecombe. Devon and Cornwall police said Ms Widdecombe was found at her home on Dartmoor yesterday morning with serious injuries. Anne Widdecombe was 78 and a major figure in the Conservative governments of the 1990s. She joined Reform UK in 2023. Sir Keir Starmer said the murder investigation was really shocking news, and he praised Ms Widdecombe as a distinguished politician. The Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, said she was stunned and that her heart was breaking for her family. Our first report tonight is by Helena Wilkinson.
It was in her house in Dartmoor where Anne Widdecombe was found dead yesterday. In a shocking development this afternoon, police said they were now treating her death as murder.
We can confirm that a 26-year-old man was arrested at an address in Newton Abbot this afternoon on suspicion of the murder of Anne Widdecombe. The suspect, who is a white British national, remains in police custody whilst the inquiries continue. Officers were called to Miss Widdecombe's home at Haytor by the ambulance service around 11:40 a.m. on Thursday the 9th of July. Sadly, 78-year-old Miss Widdecombe was located deceased within the property. She has sustained serious injuries.
This evening, the Prime Minister gave his reaction to a murder inquiry being launched into her death.
Well, this is really shocking news. And my thoughts, I think all of our thoughts, will be with the family and friends of Anne Widdecombe at this awful time for them. Anne was a distinguished politician over many, many years with many achievements. And it's a huge loss.
At a defence-related visit in Portsmouth earlier, the Conservative leader gave her reaction.
I'm stunned. To be honest, I don't really have the words for what we've discovered has happened. Anne Widdecombe was 78 years old. She was a fun and very feisty person, but she was an elderly person. I don't understand how someone could do something like this. It's a nasty, horrific attack.
Neighbours have also been reacting to the news.
I'm devastated, I'm shocked, and I just can't believe it. In this lovely setting where we live, it's so peaceful, and I'm just absolutely devastated.
Outside Anne Widdecombe's home this evening, there's a heavy police presence. Specialist officers are carrying out forensic investigations in this murder inquiry, piecing together exactly how one of the country's most well-known politicians died. Helena Wilkinson, BBC News.
Our UK correspondent Daniel Sanford is here with me. Daniel, the police spoke just before we came on air. Tell us more about what they said.
Yeah, obviously, when people heard that Anne Widdecombe had been murdered, they started thinking about things like the murder of Sir David Amess and the murder of Jo Cox, two very high-profile MPs who were murdered in the line of duty, and the police had to deal with that at the press conference that they were just holding. They said that counter-terrorism policing had been consulted at an early stage of the inquiry, but at this stage there was absolutely no suggestion there's terrorism involved, and then actually the Assistant Chief Constable reiterated that there's no information that he's got that this is a politically motivated crime. The police were called to Anne Widdecombe's house yesterday morning after she was found at her home. The 26-year-old man that's been arrested was arrested in Newton Abbot, and for those people who don't know the geography of the area, Newton Abbot's the nearest town, and it's about 12 miles or so from the property where Anne Widdecombe lived, in this beautiful, beautiful setting on Dartmoor with a pool in the garden, such a tranquil setting, now the scene of really a horrendous murder.
Daniel, thank you. Daniel Sanford there. Anne Widdecombe had a long career in politics where she was known for her forthright views and strong belief in traditional values. After politics, she became known to a wider audience through reality TV, taking part in shows such as Strictly Come Dancing and Celebrity Big Brother. Nick Eardley looks back at her life.
Anne Widdecombe was a politician who spoke her mind, even when it was unpopular. Forthright, unflinching, and often adventurous. She was first elected to Parliament in 1987 when Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister.
It's a great opportunity that we've been given, and like Mrs Thatcher, I think it's a very major trust which we must...
It suggests, doesn't it, what we've heard from the police, and to be fair, it wasn't very much, but then why would it be? Because they now have their suspect in custody, but it does suggest that it was a very quick arrest. It didn't seem there was much time between the appeal for a rather vague appeal for a white male.
We can confirm that a 26-year-old man was arrested at an address in Newton Abbot this afternoon on suspicion of the murder of Anne Widdecombe. The suspect, who is a white British national, remains in police custody whilst the inquiries continue. Officers were called to Miss Widdecombe's home at Haytor by the ambulance service around 11:40 a.m. on Thursday the 9th of July. Sadly, 78-year-old Miss Widdecombe was located deceased within the property. She has sustained serious injuries. Her next of kin have been informed and are being supported by specially trained officers. Detectives from the Force Major Crime Investigation Team have launched a murder investigation and are conducting extensive inquiries into the circumstances surrounding Miss Widdecombe's death. While we work closely with our partners and have consulted counter-terrorism policing as part of our initial inquiries, the incident is not being treated as terrorism. A cordon remains in place at the property while specialist officers continue forensic examinations. There are road closures in place around the scene, and the public will see significant police activity in the area while detectives and other officers continue house-to-house and CCTV inquiries. This is an extremely tragic incident. Our thoughts are very much with the family and friends of Miss Widdecombe at this very difficult time. Our murder inquiry is in its early stages but moving at significant pace, and we are deploying all the necessary resources to find out exactly what has happened. I would appeal to anyone who may have information about this incident, however insignificant it may seem, to come forward and speak with us. While we release further information when we're able to do so, but in the meantime, I would ask people not to speculate about what might have happened, particularly on social media. That's not only potentially harmful to our investigation, but also deeply distressing to the family and friends of Miss Widdecombe. We've set up a major incident public portal for information. Images or footage can be submitted to us there, and this can be found easily on our website. Information can also be passed anonymously to the independent charity Crime Stoppers. Thank you very much. I'll now take a few short questions.
Was the offender known to the victim?
We remain open-minded throughout the investigation, and we're making those inquiries, so it's too early for me to comment further on that at this time.
Christine from Sky News. Is there any indication that the murder was politically motivated?
No, at this time, again, it's early stages of the investigation, so we'll remain open-minded. At this time, I've got no information to believe that that is a politically motivated crime. Please.
Has she received any threats before this?
Well, we work very closely within national protocols to monitor those within MPs and the political environment. I think it'd be wrong for me to comment about anything around an individual at this stage of the investigation.
Paul Greaves, Devon Line. Is there anything more you can tell us about the nature of the injuries Ms Widdicombe sustained?
Well, again, I think for both sensitivity, the family and friends, and also this stage of the inquiry, it would be wrong for me to comment on that any further right now. But when we have further details of any part of the investigation, we will, of course, be briefing out to you.
Prime Minister. This is a very shocking development. What more can you tell us about the death of Anne Widdicombe?
Well, this is really shocking news. And my thoughts, I think all of our thoughts, will be with the family and friends of Anne Widdicombe at this awful time for them. Anne was a distinguished politician over many, many years with many achievements, and it's a huge, huge loss. I've spoken to the Chief Constable this afternoon about the details, and I think this is really important, that this is a moment where we rise above any political differences, the political divide, and say the single most important thing at the moment is that all of us and the public help the police identify the individual suspected and make sure he's arrested as quickly as possible. He's clearly dangerous, and I implore everybody who's got any information in relation to him to help the police with their inquiries, get him into police custody. To that end, I've spoken to the Speaker of the House, I've spoken to the Leader of the Opposition, I've spoken to Nigel Farage as the Leader of Reform, and I've spoken to Andy Burnham to urge everybody to come together at a moment like this and to urge everybody to help the police. But go back to where I started, my thoughts are very much with the family and friends of Anne Widdicombe, a distinguished politician over many, many years.
We have seen political violence against politicians in recent years. Is there anything to suggest that Anne Widdicombe's murder was politically motivated? And is the government planning to increase the security of serving or retired politicians in light of this murder?
The security of politicians is of the utmost importance, and we have enhanced it in recent years. It's really important we remain vigilant. I'm not going to speculate about this particular case. The Chief Constable has briefed me on the details as they're known at the moment, but I think it's very important for us to have in our thoughts the family and friends of Anne Widdicombe, and to be clear, the single most important thing at the moment is that the suspect is apprehended as quickly as possible by the police. And I urge everybody listening or watching this who's got any information at all which may be of assistance to the police to come forward to make sure that someone who is clearly dangerous is apprehended as quickly as possible, and the police investigation can proceed on that basis. Thank you.
Vice Prime Minister speaking.
Certainly, always good to speak with you. She was. She was a straight-talking Conservative.
You will be detained, you will be dealt with speedily, and you will be removed.
With a political career spanning decades. Finding new fame on reality TV. Anne Widdicombe entered Parliament at her third attempt in 1987 and later became a Home Office Minister in John Major's government. She clashed with some colleagues, most famously in this backbench attack on then leadership hopeful Michael Howard.
541 prisoners were released before the end of their sentence. They didn't even have to break out.
She never shied from her socially conservative views on abortion, gay rights and women's role in the church. She converted to Catholicism in 1993. In 2010, she left Parliament and went on to become an unlikely reality TV star.
Next up is Anne Widdecombe and her partner.
First in the ballroom, then the Big Brother house.
I don't think I've been a complete grump.
No, I didn't say you'd been a complete grump. I never used the word complete.
I disagreed with her on every single subject, but I genuinely enjoyed her company. I admired her deeply. And in the end, she had me absolutely wrapped around her little finger.
Anne Widdecombe returned to politics in 2019, becoming an MEP for Nigel Farage's Brexit party, and in recent years joined Reform UK.
And we will turn the boats round and send them back.
A formidable politician until the end, who earned many admirers along the way.
Firstly, just tell me why you decided to stand for the Brexit Party.
Oh, I mean, I share the frustration of the entire nation, which is that Parliament's making a complete mess of it. They're bringing Britain into disrepute abroad. We look idiots. And my view is we need to send a very strong message to both major parties that we expect the result of the referendum to be honoured and for it to be done quickly and efficiently. And that is the message we're sending. And if we can make overwhelming gains in Labour heartlands and in Tory shires, then that message cannot be ignored by MPs.
It's a pretty peculiar position to be in, to say you're going to vote for the Conservative Party in the local elections and then stand for a separate party in the European elections.
It's not peculiar at all. First of all, I've got an excellent local candidate in the election. Secondly, there is no Brexit candidate. So it's not peculiar at all.
So if there was a Brexit Party candidate in the local elections, would you vote for them?
Well, of course, as I've now joined the Brexit Party, I would, yes. But as far as I'm concerned, the Conservative candidate is an extremely good one. And it is not a difficult decision to take.
But you are riding two horses at the same time.
No, I'm not riding two horses at the same time. If there is no Brexit...
You left the Conservative Party.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you abstain in the local elections.
But have you even resigned from the Conservative Party yet?
I've resigned from the presidency of Maidstone. That resignation went in today.
But you're still a party member.
Well, I'm obviously not, because de facto, once you stand against a Conservative candidate, which is what I will be doing on May the 23rd, you are no longer a party member. So whether de jure I am still a subscribing member, I am not regarded by the party as a member.
But you're a Conservative voter when it suits you in local elections, just not in Euros.
There is no Brexit candidate in the local elections. Do you want me to abstain completely and not cast my vote 100 years after women's suffrage? Is that what you want me to do?
It might be a more principled thing to do, yes, actually. Some people might say that it would be a more principled position to be consistent about the way you vote.
It would be remotely principled not to vote when I am being asked to make a decision on which of these candidates is the best to represent my local area down on Dartmoor. That is the decision I am being asked to make.
Well, many people spoil their ballot papers when they find that there's not a choice that they like.
I don't. Hang on, I haven't said I don't like that candidate. He's been a very effective local councillor. He's done things for the area.
But he's standing for a party which you will campaign against in the European election.
No Brexit candidate for the local elections. And what I have said is I am standing for the Brexit Party in the European elections. Now, everybody out there listening to this wants you to stop this line of question and ask about the things that matter to people. Do you realise that for 3 years the British public has seethed with frustration as Parliament has fooled around on this subject? Our problem is we've got a majority for leave in the population, a majority for remain in Parliament, and that Parliament is not honouring the result of the referendum. Now, come on, that is what matters. That's what's driven me to stand for the Brexit Party and to join the Brexit Party for the European elections.
What are the Brexit Party's policies then?
The Brexit Party's policy is that we honour the result of the referendum and we leave.
Just one policy then?
In the European elections, that's all you need.
But as an MEP, you will be asked, if you were successful in standing for election, you'll be asked to vote on all sorts of different things. Where does the Brexit Party stand on social policy, on workers' rights?
Where the Brexit Party stands is that this is not a matter for Europe to intervene in. That's where the Brexit Party stands.
So you'll be abstaining from all votes then in the European
I haven't said that at all. I have said, you don't appear to understand this, I have said that I am standing for the Brexit Party, that when I actually sit in Europe, if I ever do, because the likelihood is that these elections might not even take place, or having taken place, might then become redundant because we've left, or some deal is suddenly done. It is a farce that any of us are in this position, and you're asking me to predict my future conduct as though this was a normal election in which there would be a certainty of actually being there for any period of time. We are in a farce. We are in a very, very stupid position. Parliament has put us there, and this is the only way that we can send a message to say, get on with it. And indeed, you talk about other policies. The public would love to hear about other policies, about health, about pensions.
Police were called to Anne Widdecombe.
Police were called to Anne Widdecombe's rural home in Devon yesterday morning. They say she had been found dead there, having sustained what they described as serious injuries. The former minister and reality TV star was 78 years old. The police say they are not treating the incident as terrorism or as politically motivated, and a short time ago they revealed they had arrested a suspect.
We can confirm that a 26-year-old man was arrested at an address in Newton Abbot this afternoon on suspicion of the murder of Anne Widdecombe. The suspect, who is a white British national, remains in police custody whilst inquiries continue.
Anne Widdecombe was still politically active and last appeared in the public eye as recently as Wednesday morning.
Different parts of the establishment act in ways which I think are extremely questionable.
This afternoon, the Prime Minister gave his reaction to her death.
Well, this is really shocking news. And my thoughts, I think all of our thoughts, will be with the family and friends of Anne Widdecombe at this awful time for them. Anne was a distinguished politician over many, many years with many achievements, and it's a huge, huge loss.
Anne Widdecombe had built her career over many years as a Conservative MP and minister.
I've been stunned to hear this awful news. To be honest, I've really struggled to find the words to say. Anne Widdecombe was a very fun and feisty woman who spoke her mind, and I extend my condolences to Nigel Farage and everyone in Reform on behalf of the Conservative Party, because we've both lost a friend.
Anne Widdecombe was, amongst other roles, Home Office Minister in John Major's government. Her most famous political moment came when she attacked her former boss, Michael Howard, for the way the prison service had been run.
541 prisoners were released before the end of their sentence. They didn't even have to break out.
But even greater fame was still to come.
Next up is Anne Widdecombe and her partner.
She was an unlikely but undeniable reality TV star, most notably on Strictly Come Dancing.
My thoughts go out to all of her nearest and dearest and all her family. This is a sad day, and I'm devastated by the news of Anne's passing, but I shall remember her fondly and miss her.
More recently, she re-entered politics with the Brexit Party and Reform UK, for whom she spoke on justice and immigration.
And we will turn the boats round and send them back.
Anne Widdecombe's Christian faith underpinned socially conservative views on gay rights and abortion, which were not always popular. But her gift for straight talking and her comic timing made her one of the most recognisable politicians in the country. Carl Dinnan, ITV News, Westminster.
OK, well, let's get the latest reaction now from Westminster. Our political correspondent Harry Holton is there for us. Harry, there have been many calls for everyone to rise above political differences, hasn't there?
Yeah, that's right. We've heard that from the Prime Minister this afternoon, and Keir Starmer said he'd spoken to Andy Burnham, who is expected to become Prime Minister in just over a week's time, as well as Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Conservative Party, and the House Speaker, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, urging everyone to come together. Early this morning, when news first broke of Anne Widdecombe's death, there were lots of warm tributes paid to her from many of her former colleagues, even those that she may have disagreed with at times. And then as news began to emerge this afternoon of that police murder inquiry, there was a real sense of shock among politicians in Westminster. And the context of that is over the last decade, we have seen the murder of two serving MPs, Jo Cox and Sir David Amess. Police have said, to reiterate, there's no evidence Anne Widdecombe's death was politically motivated, but tonight politicians of all parties have been paying warm tributes to Anne Widdecombe and her political career, partly because of the tragic and sudden nature of her death, but also because she was such a big political figure in this country, spanning almost 4 decades.
Harry, thanks very much. ITV West Country political correspondent Alicia Fitzgerald is at the scene for us. Alicia, what's the latest on the investigation?
Well, a 26-year-old white British male has been arrested in the Newton Abbot area of Devon on suspicion of the murder of Anne Widdecombe. We are not too far away down in the remote area of Hayter Vale in Devon too, where you can see there is a quite significant police presence. The home is cordoned off and there are forensics at the scene. The police have opened a murder investigation and are appealing to any members of the public with further information about her death to please hand that over. They are not treating this death as a terrorism case, however. This is an extremely rural and quiet part of the country. We're not too far from Dartmoor, and it's somewhere that's definitely not used to seeing incidents like this one. It will 100% have sent shockwaves through the village and through the neighbouring areas too. There aren't that many houses around here, but the neighbours we have spoken to have all said they feel extremely shaken up about this. One neighbour in particular said that this is a village that's normally so safe she leaves her doors open overnight, but that she will not be doing that going forward. Anne Widdecombe's political career obviously spanned several decades, of course being a Conservative MP for Maidstone and the Weald, followed by a member of the European Parliament representing the Brexit Party and of course the southwest of England too. She then went on to be a member of the Reform Party, being one of their key spokespeople after kind of playing such a big role in the Brexit Leave campaign. There have been tributes paid to her across the entire political spectrum, including from Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who says that this murder has been totally shocking and that we need to all make sure that we don't speculate and treat the family with respect. This is something that, of course, is an ongoing police investigation, and both the police and politicians alike are urging people to remain respectful to Anne Widdecombe's family and not to speculate on social media.
Well, that is it for me. Thank you for listening to the BBC News special on the death of Anne Widdecombe, Refuge 78. Bye bye.